Welcome to HNB Conversations with Cosmo and Rivka.
Hey everybody, how you doing?
How you doing, everybody?
How's it going?
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Hey little trucker.
Yeah, little truckers. That's what they all are, little truckers.
Well,
okay, so
are you gonna say hello?
No, excuse me. No, we're not doing hellos anymore because we've run out of hellos. Because what happens is you say hello in 30 some languages, then all of a sudden, because different languages have similar roots, hello starts to sound the same in all the different languages. Like when I was looking for hello in one of the Russian countries, it was Zdravo.
Mm-hmm.
And then all the other countries in those areas was the same.
Or hi. There are a lot of them that's
yeah.
hi.
Or there's hello, hola, alo, whatever. It kind of all goes
Ahoy.
the same. Ahoy.
Well, we need something practical then. Hello is practical. What else is practical?
I've picked something because last time we didn't do a hello. And I wasn't going to make a big deal out of it. I didn't want anybody to say anything. I was like, we'll just scoot on past this.
I knew that wouldn't work.
Well, okay. It could have worked.
But I knew it didn't though.
But I just don't think that many people were interested in saying hello in so many different languages. Half the time, I don't think people are that interested at all in most things that we say.
Why didn't it work? Who noticed?
So, somebody said that they were going to boycott if we took it away. And so I was they were like, this wasn't on there, I'm boycotting. And I was like, okay, well, fine, back up. Just sit down, relax, have a cup of coffee. So what I decided to do is to do something that is, I don't want to say goodbye because a lot of times when you say hello, goodbye is very similar. It isn't in our language, but I know that if you were to say shalom, you're shalom when you leave. Yeah. Or in Greek, when you say yasu, you say yasu when you leave. So I didn't want to have to get into that whole thing. So I decided that I was going to start with all these different languages, and I think we'll probably have a bigger
range,
diversity. Yes. I am going to teach everybody how to say, do you know where the bathroom is? In all these different languages. Just in case. I mean, that's, I think, pretty essential.
Especially after you've sat down to have a cup of coffee.
Exactly. So, today I thought we would start off with English.
Come on.
No. Listen. You think that we know everything? You think American English is the only English that there is?
What are you going to say, Lou?
Well, okay. So this is about understanding how to ask questions in different languages, right? So if you went to England, and you said, because in American English, you say, where's the bathroom?
Right.
Right? You don't say that in other countries.
English countries?
Yeah. So in Canada, you would say, excuse me, where's the washroom? Okay. In British English,
keep going.
In British English, you would say, where's the loo or the lavatory? So airplanes, I think they're all British because it's always the lavatory.
It does look.
Hold on. I'm not done. In Irish English, it says, where's the WC?
Come on.
Yeah, I'm serious. In Irish English, it's
Do we have any Irish folks out there that can,
Okay, so I have something to read here because if you don't believe me, that's fine. But I want you to know, I've done my due diligence. I've done my research on this. Okay. And it's serious stuff. Okay, so it seems that there are almost as many different bathroom practices as there are languages.
Oh, wow.
In which to ask where the bathroom might be. Of course, each country thinks that its way is normal, as we have just seen. But when it comes to toilet habits, it seems that normal is in the eye of the beholder. Where there are some different, when you're speaking different languages in English, you ask questions in a different way. There will probably be times that you just don't know how to ask, and that's an important question. When you're you could try to do some gesture. This is my favorite, though. Listen to this. So when you're trying to do some gestures, when you're shaking, or because you said just a minute ago, you're wouldn't you just be bathroom?
Well, I know when we've gone to Mexico that we would just say baño.
Right. But here's a universal way. Mm-hmm. Here's a universal way to ask where the bathroom is, okay? So sign language is pretty universal. So in sign language, the word for bathroom is made by tucking your thumb straight up between your pointer finger and your middle finger while making a fist and shaking your fist from side to side. So you do that, just like that.
Okay.
That's how you say. So when you're in another country, if you don't know how, it's a universal way to just go like this.
But if someone did that to me, I wouldn't know what in the world they were asking me.
Well, now you do.
I love communicating sign language over an audio podcast.
But then they can
I just described it. They shouldn't be listening if they can't hear me, and I just described it.
I have a question.
Yes.
Having done your due diligence and all your research.
Yes.
How many couple of minutes did it take you to do all this research?
Well, I really take my time on these kinds of things.
Did it even reach dozens?
So do we want to start picking apart how much you do? Okay, so all right.
So what's interesting to me though too is actually the things like the point you made though, the things that we do just take for granted as normal.
Yeah.
So for instance, the phrase bathroom that we use, or restroom we say, is neither a place that we typically, except in a home, that you bathe,
right,
or rest,
right.
But we call it. So the washroom is good, or some people say, "Where's the toilet?"
Or the WC.
What does that even mean?
Wash closet.
Wash closet.
Seriously, you didn't know that meant wash closet?
Okay. I wish we had polling. How many of you knew what WC meant?
We can do.
I guess
more.
no.
I don't think
you didn't know that it meant wash closet.
No.
WC can have so many. There's so many letters and combinations.
It could be wild card.
So the reason I must know why that means,
because you went to a British.
I went to a
international school. Yeah.
Yeah, and that was what was on the doors. WC.
Dad went to high school in Bushnell, Florida.
I went to high school where, it smelled like cigarette smoke inside.
Well, I'm sorry. My school was way cool.
Yeah.
Anyway. Alrighty, so I think this week we're going to hopefully have a lighter-hearted question. The last 2 weeks have been somewhat really heavy.
You ready? I have the question.
I am ready.
If you had to swap your legs with the legs of any other animal, which animal would you choose?
Well, this could take the whole podcast, really.
If I had to swap my legs with, well, first of all, they're going to be smaller. I can tell you that right now. I can tell you that. What would you do? You could be taller. You could do giraffe legs, Cosmo. That would be fabulous. No one would ever accuse you of being short again.
Honestly, I'm just because I don't like things too different, I was just thinking I'd go like gorilla.
I think that if you had to see yourself walk like gorillas walk with gorilla legs, I think that would change your mind.
Well, a horse. I mean, the other thing is horse. Like just the back legs of horses.
They're majestic.
Yeah, so I would like. That's the other one, like the back leg.
I would enjoy watching you walk around with gorilla. I don't think I'd ever stop laughing. I'd get nothing done. What am I saying? No, you can't have gorilla legs. No, you can't have gorilla legs. So you would want gorilla legs.
I want to stay.
Legs.
I think I want to stay a biped.
A what?
A biped, that two-legged person.
A biped?
Yeah, quadruped is four-legged. Biped is two-legged.
Okay.
It's a zoological.
It's
a zoological
term.
term.
Now, who knows what that is? Everybody who knows what that is.
I think a lot of people know what that is.
Well,
I think a lot of people know more what biped was than WC.
I knew what a biped was.
A biped. Yes. To me, ped is like pediatrics.
No, or what a podiatrist is?
For
yes,
feet?
that's for
feet. So two.
Okay.
Yeah. So I knew what a biped was.
Well, I've gone my whole life without knowing.
But you did know what a WC was.
I did know it. So no matter where I am, I can find the bathroom.
Yeah, that's okay.
I think that's actually more important. But
I agree.
whatever.
All right. So yeah, I think that's what I would do.
You think that's what you do? You'd want to be a horse? So which legs would you want?
I heard the back.
Would you? Oh, you want? Yeah.
I said the back legs.
So
I
want the horses.
Patootie. I wouldn't want that. I wouldn't want that.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah. That would open you up to way too much making fun of for me.
Yeah.
Way too much. Yeah. That and the gorilla legs. I don't know. let's see. I don't know, like if I wanted to, you know what? I've never been able to run super fast. So like I think, and I don't like I've already got like the rhino legs is how I feel. Like I've already got that going on in this nice little Greek life here. I think I'd probably want to do. Okay, so bear with me. Okay, as they say in England, bear with. I'd want to probably go with the ostrich legs. Like, I mean, they're strong because if you get kicked by an ostrich, that's like a whole other thing. Like it'll kill you. They can run super, super fast, and they are skinny. They're skinny. I would have to go with ostrich legs.
Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, I prefer just keeping people.
You
legs.
can be the horse's patootie. And I'll go ahead and I'll do the ostrich legs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because right now I have chicken legs.
I think you have really pretty legs if you were a girl, but you're not a girl. So I guess for a guy, they'd be like, I wish I had better legs. But I think girls would be like, thank goodness. I don't think any of our daughters are like, yay, I've got mom's muscular legs.
Yeah. Well, anyway.
So
I guess the question's not going to take up the entirety of the podcast.
Yeah. That's shocking.
And shocking.
Yes. All right, you got a second one for us, kid?
Yes, I do.
All right.
Now, as I present this question, I'm going to ask for you to allow each other to finish stating your answer before you comment on each other.
Whoa, it's too many words. Back up. Say this all again.
Don't interrupt.
Don't interrupt. Don't pitch an
idea. Look how you could have said that in such a shorter way.
Don't pitch an answer until the other has answered the question.
Okay.
You're going to answer first.
I'm no.
Ladies first.
No. I defer to you, Rabbi. You, Rabbi, holy Rabbi.
I don't.
You should go first.
Okay, here we go.
All
You
right.
ready?
Mm-hmm.
All right. What's the worst idea you've ever had? What is the worst idea you've ever had?
I promise I will not interrupt you. There's going to be a long silence. It's like a long silence there. Tony's going to have to do lots of editing.
I think you would remember whatever my bad ideas were more than I remember what my bad ideas were.
You think I think it's part of the problem that you don't ever remember what your bad ideas are. I always remember.
Dad's like all my ideas are great.
I know.
Like any idea worth remembering is a good idea. If it's not worth remembering, I just put it out and go.
Yeah, that's wisdom.
Yeah, I mean.
Yeah.
Bad idea.
Mm-hmm. Bad idea.
That was a bad idea.
How can you not think of a bad idea?
I need a spark. I need a spark.
A spark. Use that word right there. Spark.
Okay. All right.
Oh, there we go. There we go. But everybody, I think, knows this story.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Do you not pay attention to when we're doing the podcast?
I don't know
that
what
we've
we're
told
about to
this
talk
story.
about.
All right, go ahead.
Yeah, so in probably, it was the early 2000s, 2002, 2003, New Year's Eve. And
it was the year of 2003, New Year's Eve.
It was like 02 into 03, or 03 into 04.
My bad.
And I was leading youth ministry. We were leading youth ministry, but we had little boys. So on New Year's Eve, we'd do a big New Year's Eve event for our students. And but Riv would stay home with the little guys.
The little guys.
With Antonio and Giovanni. And so I'm a candle guy. I like candles. We like candles.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Rivka had mentioned to me on multiple occasions that I should, like, if we have a candle.
I think this is like even on the candle.
Maybe. What was the instruction about not interrupting?
Okay, fine. I'll be quiet. Sure.
So she had mentioned to me on multiple occasions, perhaps, to be sure to, like, don't just put a candle directly on, like, a table or say on wood or on like a ledge, but you need to put a plate or put something underneath it if it's just if it's not in glass. You can't help it.
I cannot help it. I'm sorry.
And so anyway, I failed to. I had lit candles. We had lit candles, and I had lit one on our dining room table. And then I went to lead the youth event. So now, at the time, my parents were visiting with us, and our home in Kansas City was a split-level house. And so we had given my parents our bedroom. So they were upstairs in our bedroom, and the dining room was upstairs. And we were sleeping on the pull-out, the sleeper sofa downstairs. So when I got home that night, it must have been 1 in the morning, 1:30. I was tired. And so I came in and went directly downstairs. I didn't go upstairs, make sure everything was fine, lights were off.
And you had not communicated to me anything.
No, I had left about 6 p.m. And, I presumed certain things. And so that I thought someone would blow out candles.
The dining room wasn't visible unless you went into the dining room.
Sure. And so the next morning, New Year's Day, I wake up to a crackling sound.
No. We wake up to Giovanni.
Yeah.
Going, fire!
There's a fire!
Fire! There's a fire, Daddy!
And I hear,
and then you hear the crackling.
But I had kind of coming out of sleep, kind of heard the crackling, but not noticed the crackling. You know what I mean?
The crackling was so loud it pulled you out of sleep. That is loud crackling.
It's such an interruption. It's such a violation of the rules.
This is why people listen.
You're breaking the rules.
People love me. People love me.
Don't you understand rules?
I don't actually. That's how come I succeed.
So anyway, we go upstairs and our dining room table is on fire. And
on fire.
Yeah. And so we put the fire out. And then we're broke.
We're so broke.
We're broke. So
and it was a table that we had found at a thrift store. I was so excited. I had a table because forever we didn't have a table. And I was like, we're gonna have to get a new table. And Cosmo was like, I don't know where you think we're getting a new table from. We don't have the money for a new table. Like he had burnt my table and didn't feel any need whatsoever to replace it. So I had to come up with a way, because if I were to put down, I thought, well, I guess I can cover it with a tablecloth. But if I covered it with a tablecloth, because the center of the table was literally coal,
ash.
It was like charcoal.
Yeah.
No, if I could chip it off and either write something or take it unless I ingest poison. Okay? It was charcoal in the middle of the table. So I got contact paper. And I put contact paper all over the top of it. And then I had a tablecloth on it for years.
Well, yeah, until we moved out of that house. And then we decided to not take the table with us.
Oh, but the story doesn't end there. The story doesn't end there.
Oh, but shouldn't it, though?
I don't think it should. I think everyone should absolutely understand the magnitude. The magnitude.
Lorraine, I'm your density. Of my density. So I think it was sometime later.
not that much later, because I was flabbergasted by your level. See, this is what happens when you put the bad ideas out of your head. You have to remember those to learn from them.
So and the good news is.
What's the good news?
We're here.
We have made it this far.
Yeah.
Okay, so a few weeks. I think your mom's still actually with us.
No, I don't think so.
You don't think so?
Mm-mm.
Well, all I know is there was a half wall in the kitchen, right?
Between the kitchen and the kitchen nook.
Yeah, like the breakfast room, I think they would call it.
Breakfast nook is how they did it back in the day.
I guess, yeah. So, anyways, there was this half wall, right? So. I will let you go ahead and I will not interrupt.
So I like candles. They make the room smell nice. And so
like smoke. Sorry, I did it again. Sorry.
You're such a comedian. Oh, Rivka's so funny.
Well.
So I put a candle on
half wall.
On the half wall and didn't put a plate underneath it.
Again.
And then again forgot to let anyone know.
Mm-hmm.
And that candle burned down.
And then into the wall.
Yeah, into the top of the wall, the
like
half wall.
It literally made charcoal again, but it was like I was so shocked at the fact that like the house didn't burn down. Like it was so burnt into that half wall, like it went down a good 2 to 3 inches.
That feels like an exaggeration.
No, I'm telling you, I know it does to you because you forget these things. But like this went from like, these are 2 really important things to women, like our furniture and our homes. They're really important. And I didn't have a lot of them. This was my first house and I loved my house. It took a long time to buy a house. It was like a miracle from God, literally, that we could actually buy a home. And then I didn't have a dining room table, and I got a dining room table. There are so many bad ideas I'm remembering right now that you've done over the years. But anyways, and so you burnt a hole in the...
What's the next one? Tell me the next one.
Well, there was another time when I wanted a dining room table, and I found this really inexpensive, perfect dining room table for me that I really, really, really loved. And you couldn't believe how inexpensive it was. And I was like, oh, this is so great. And I found it on Craigslist. By the way, for everybody who can't see, which is everybody, Cosmo is sitting here with his elbows on the table, and his face is planted in his hands. So... anyways, you went to pick up this table for me.
Pick up the table.
So he goes, go ahead, yeah.
Oh, this was,
Yeah, I know.
I pick up the table, and I'm going to load it in the back of the van. We have a minivan that you drop all the seats down and yada, yada.
Yada, yada.
And, of course, to load a table in, you have to go face down. And I didn't think to grab a blanket.
No, it wasn't that you just didn't think to grab a blanket. You were just like, it'll be fine. Like, that's how your brain works. You just think, like, everything will be fine. And typically, because there aren't things that, like, really matter to you. I mean, I'm not saying it doesn't matter, but it's not like...
like, I'm like, oh.
It's not like one of the boys dropped your computer. Like, that's like all... like, you'd be like, oh, my gosh, because that's valuable to you.
Mm-hmm.
So he...
Well, this was... yeah. Yeah, so I loaded the table in and didn't ask for anyone to help me.
Nope.
Did it
which is number uno.
I did it by myself because I was like, I can do it.
Oh yeah, I'm so smart
and strong. and so I loaded in and.
But you didn't even know then, and then you pull it out.
Mm-hmm. And as I pull it out.
But it wasn't...
I kind of noticed.
I think you kind of blocked it out even in that moment.
I was hoping you wouldn't notice.
I wouldn't notice the serious, deep groove scratches that went the length of the table on top of the table. And again, there's no replacing this table. There's no getting me a new table. Mm-hmm. This is the table that I now have. And all I have to do now is, again, throw another tablecloth over it.
And then I was frustrated that she was frustrated.
Yeah.
Story of my life.
I know, story of my life.
Yeah. So are those ideas?
Mm-hmm. Was your idea to light the candle? Was your idea to light the second candle, making the second mistake again? Was your idea to put the... I mean, you have to learn how to ask for help. But to put the table in the van...
because when I pulled the table out, what happened was, it's not that... it's because the van itself, because of the way everything laid out, was smooth. So that wasn't the issue. What the issue was that as I pulled it out, it caught, the little latch that the back door connects to. That latch is what scratched the table. It's a plant my face in my hands kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like if I could do that again, that'd be great. So let's talk about your bad. Let's talk about your bad ideas because I don't remember.
My bad ideas?
Yeah, I don't even remember your bad ideas. Other than like stapling your hand.
Well, that was the one I was going to say. I mean,
on purpose when you were 7 or
when
something.
Was I 7? No, I don't. I was in the second grade. Are you 7 in the second grade?
Yes.
Yeah, because you're not 7 in the... No, wait, because there's first grade before second grade, and there's
That's
kindergarten.
right.
So
Kindergarten, you're 5.
But you can be 6 in the kindergarten. You can be
in the
6
kindergarten,
years old.
but you wouldn't be because you were born in April. So you would have started kindergarten in 1979, in the fall of 79.
Mm-hmm.
And then first grade would have been in the fall of 80. And second grade would have been the fall of 81. And you were born in 74. So that's 7.
Okay. So, my bad ideas. I'm going to have to think because I've been sitting here trying to think of when I've had a bad idea. And that sounds really arrogant, but I think I'm the one with the ideas typically and that are good ideas. Oh, man. Gosh. Is this while we have been, Tonio, is this while we have been like together?
I think that.
Or is this like lifetime?
I think it would be more fun for everybody if it was while you were together.
Okay. Wow.
And also more humbling for you.
For me?
Within your adult life, not your childhood.
Yeah. So here's why this is hard for me to think of something. And it's not because I'm not absolutely, listen, I have no problem saying, yeah, I've done some pretty dumb things. But my brain, the way it works is it's very like constructive and always like seeing how
you come up with some really cool solutions.
Right. It's a solution brain, right. So bad ideas, I'm trying to think. I can't remember like something that would stick out to where I would remember like, oh, I should have never done that. Oh, okay, here's something I did that was not a good idea. So, I mean, this isn't anything big, but if I was going to remember something that I was like, oh gosh, I should not have done that, this was one. Excuse me. Excuse me. Antonio or Giovanni was 3. He was right before he was 3. He was turning 3, and he got salmonella, and he ended up in the hospital. And the baby was 10. That's Antonio.
Months,
right. 10 months. I was just going to finish that. 10 months. And he was throwing up a lot. And so because Giovanni had ended up in the hospital with salmonella, the health department called the house and was asking me lots of questions. And I had, I had no idea that, oh my gosh, my throat. Everyone's going to think I'm just stalling. So I didn't know that you could get salmonella as easily as you can get salmonella. That unless you have a 7 to 10 day flu, when they say you have a stomach virus, it's almost 100% of the time salmonella. That's what the lady told me on the phone. She goes, you can get it from eating an undercooked egg. So like the yellows in our eggs, like when we have dippers, as you call them, you can get salmonella from that. You can get salmonella from not washing your hands well. Like you can get salmonella from like so many things. And I was like, oh, like I had no idea. She said all stomach viruses usually go back to that unless it's some diagnosed thing that they put out on the news or it's the flu. So,
which, by the way, I don't know about you, but my whole life, anytime I heard salmonella, I always thought of it like my Uncle Sal. Salmonella.
Okay, well, that's because you're Italian. I had never heard of the word salmonella.
Hey, Salvatore Manila.
Yeah, so I had never heard of the word salmonella until I think maybe our kids got sick. Like, it just wasn't something we talked a whole lot about, and I don't know. It was just not something that came up. I don't even know that Greeks sit around going, do you have salmonella?
Yeah.
Like, I just don't know.
But she knew what the WC was.
Well, yeah, because I went to a British school. Okay, anyways. So I was, this was our new house, and we hadn't been in the house very long at all.
Not long enough to burn a hole in the top of the half wall.
Right. You hadn't done that yet?
No, this
Okay.
would have been when we...
But you had already fallen down the stairs and dumped coffee all over the place.
All over the wall.
All over the wall, right. Okay, so anyways, so she's asking me questions, and she's like, has the baby had any symptoms of anything? And I said, no, not really. And she's like, are you sure? There's none of, and she names off a few things. And I'm like, you know what? Lately, after each time I have fed him, he's throwing up all his food. But he doesn't seem like upset. He doesn't have a fever or anything like that. And she said, actually, he probably has a touch of it as well, because it can just upset your stomach a little bit and your body ejects it. It ejects it? Yeah, ejects it. So I was like, okay. So I kind of internally freaked out because I'm like, oh my gosh, my babies have gotten salmonella. And my one was in the hospital in terrible pain. I mean, it was so sad how much pain. And there's nothing they could give him to relieve his pain. So I felt terrible. So I came home and I took out my, it wasn't, not Pine Sol, it was Lysol. I took out my Lysol spray and I was like spraying everything. Because when we would get sick when my mom was a kid, she'd be like, spray your door handles, you know, spray Lysol all over the place. So I went and I did that on like every door handle, every cupboard handle, all that. Well, what I didn't know is that if you spray it on varnish, it will strip the varnish. So when I sprayed it on the kitchen cabinets where all the handles of the doors were, it like stripped the varnish off of that area. It like dulled it up. And I remember just being like, oh, like, why did I do that? I didn't know. I don't know how I would have. We didn't have Google.
That's not a bad idea.
Well,
That's just
I mean, but it still was like something that cost me. And I mean, that's what I think of when I think of bad ideas, things that cost us in the long run. I mean, when I stapled my finger, that was a bad idea and it cost me, you know?
Yeah.
So
I'm sure that there are other things that we've done, bad ideas that I can't, like in terms of, I don't know.
Yeah, typically in our relationship, like there are things that you're good at and there's things that I'm good at. Usually what happens is this, like I'll say, you need to do it like A, B, C, D, E. Yeah. And that's my idea. Like this is how it needs to be done. We need to not do it like this. And you typically will be like, well, I think I know better. And you'll just do it your way, which is your idea. And then that will cost me. But I don't usually have the ideas that we do stuff. And if we do my ideas, if we do my ideas, typically when we have done my ideas, they typically work out pretty good. It's just the kind of brain that I have.
Yeah.
Because I won't actually do something a lot of the times as well if I think maybe because of what happened to the kitchen, those cabinets, because I remember my bad ideas, I typically go, I'm gonna go ahead and figure that, like make sure. Like if I know that I'm right, I'm going to make sure I'm right before I put out there that I'm right. Because, you know, nobody likes
Yeah, I mean,
wrong.
I think it used to be a joke that there was an early...
You've got to talk into the mic.
There was a joke that early in our marriage that it was going to be on my gravestone to say, I didn't think about it.
I just didn't think about
it. I remember she'd be like, how did you not think about that? And I was like, I don't know. How can I think about what I don't know to think about?
Yeah.
I didn't know to think about that.
Right. So you're very, very academic, very, very like brainy, smart. And I'm very, very common sense, like like street smarts.
Street smarts. I've been on the streets. I got street smarts.
Yeah. Well, I did grow up on the streets of Jerusalem.
There you go.
Life and death.
Fighting for your life.
Fighting for my life.
All right.
Antonio, you got one more for us? Because, I mean, it's okay. We can do it.
Yes,
if people want to stop listening, they can stop listening.
All right. Here I got a couple options here.
A couple options?
Yes, I do.
Ooh, it's like Christmas.
This is a fun one. What assumption have you made that went very wrong?
Ooh.
I don't like any of these questions. First of all, I bypass the word assumption. Like I've learned to not say, well, I assumed. I've learned that's a mistake. I need to know better than to say that.
Don't ever assume.
Well, see, here's the thing.
What's the
everyone
thing?
Everyone absolutely assumes on a daily basis, because when we assume something, what we're doing is we're based on previous experiences, based on previous understanding of what we've gone through, we're making assumptions about now how doing what I did previously, doing that again will bring about the same result.
I think that that's exactly why people make assumptions that actually work. I think the problem is when people assume things and they don't base it on those things. They're just assuming, well, I'd be okay with this, or I would like this. So they just assume.
Or they're assuming I did this before and it worked out well, or this is how someone responded to it.
That's not typically.
So I thought I could do that again, and this is how you would respond. So what I've learned is don't use the word assume, because it's just setting yourself up for someone to say, don't assume.
Huh. So that's what you come away with.
Well,
I think this is part of your problem.
Because
like
we
if you're just trying to figure out how to reword it and you're not actually learning from the mistake.
Yeah, that's not what I'm saying though. What I'm saying is we all make assumptions daily.
Yeah, I agree. We all make assumptions daily. Like I can assume that if I walk down the stairs correctly, I will not fall on my face. Sometimes we can go to do that and we will accidentally fall. I think everything we do, we're assuming is going to work. But there are times where, at least between you and I, that there have been assumptions that have been made that were not based on previous things. Like they weren't. And so then it's like, why did you do that? And you're like, I assumed it'd be fine.
Because it had been prior on a previous experience. Generally, that's why I would use the word assume. Generally. So
I don't know that I agree with that, but whatever.
All right.
What was the question again, Antonio?
What are some assumptions that you've made that have gone horribly? Like I made the assumption that it was okay to talk about assumptions. I don't know. So tell me, what assumptions have I made that have gone horribly wrong?
I can't. Those aren't. There's so much in my brain with so many different things. I'm trying to remember. It is a point of conversation that we have had in the past where I'm like, but why? And you're like, I just assumed it would be okay. And typically when you say, like, I can't think of an actual circumstance, but I know that
it's happened plenty.
Yes. But I know that in our conversations that I'll be like, why did you assume this? And if you had said to me, because I do remember feeling like, what? When you're like, well, I just assumed because I did it this way last time or whatever, my thing has been like it didn't make any sense to me for you to assume. If you based it on something that previously went that way, that's a logical assumption.
Right.
Right. But I don't think that that's what happened because I wouldn't have the thought process of why in the world would he assume this? It doesn't make any sense to me because I'm naturally a person who looks for the sense and logic in something.
Right.
You tend to go based on just your feeling, like, oh, this would be fun. I assumed you would enjoy this or whatever. And I'm like, what? Why? You know, like it's usually for me when I'm frustrated, it's because it's something that's taken place that is completely illogical.
Yeah. Yeah, I see that.
Where have I assumed things?
If you guys are struggling with answers, I can always ask another question.
Yeah, this one feels like it's scary.
You can
go
ahead.
Not only
Antonio.
does it feels like if mom doesn't remember. I don't feel like we need to trudge up all the old.
Yeah.
Because
you know what? You know what? It's okay. It's okay.
All right. Here, I'll ask a different one.
Just know I've been guilty of
many assumptions.
Making wrong
You know
assumptions.
how you can't have two criers? You know, like usually one person's the crier and the other person's got to like keep it together.
Yeah.
I think that's how like we roll. But like you're the crier, so I'm not a crier. You're the one that like assumes or is like, that was really stupid. And I don't have any room for error. Otherwise, this ship is going down. Okay,
right.
Tonio, give us another question.
What's one thing you'll never do again?
Get married. And not because this is a bad marriage. I mean, like, I'm not getting divorced. Like, I'm not getting... that's the first thing that popped into my head. Like, I got married once, and once is it. But that sounded terrible coming out of my mouth. That sounded really bad. Okay, so what about you? What about you?
See, I have to give thought to these things. I'm trying to think. This is one thing I'll never do again. There's so many things I'll never do again.
Just pick one. Just pick one. What would I?
I'll never bungee jump again unless it's the only way to save myself from a burning building.
But I don't think that's a bungee jump situation. That's more of a like I have nothing attached to me and I'm jumping right out.
Right.
That's suicide.
Well, no, but that's why if you had something to bungee with.
Because everybody has that bungee jump cord just like under their bed.
Well, look, I'm simply saying.
Latch it on, let's go.
Okay, so then I would never bungee jump again.
Okay.
So
you would never bungee jump
No,
again.
I did it once, and I don't need it. I don't need to feel like I'm experiencing death to realize I like life. I like
That's how I feel
life.
about roller coasters.
I like life, and I would never jump out of an airplane for the first time, unless the plane's crashing, and that was my only way to survive.
I just don't think that if you jump out of an airplane, even if the plane is crashing,
with the thingamajig.
Oh, the thingamajig.
With the parachute.
You mean the parachute?
Yeah, I would not.
There you go.
I would not skydive.
If
with
the plane's going
parachute.
down, Cosmo's looking around for a thingamajig. Does anybody got a thingamajig?
You know,
I need a thingamajig.
A parachute. I don't. To me, I'm not going to use a parachute from a plane that has perfectly good landing gear and is going to land.
Yeah, I agree.
So I would never do that in the first place. But I would never bungee jump again. I did that when I was 20, and yeah, I don't need it.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's good. I don't know that I could have been talked into bungee jumping. I don't think I have it in me. No matter what's tied to my back.
Yeah.
I think the logic in my brain is just like, no, we don't jump from this high up. We just do not do this.
That's how the devil tempted Jesus. He said, "This is going to catch you.
This is how people die."
This is unnecessary.
Yeah, I just don't think even if I wanted to, jumping from that high. I mean, I've tried to cliff dive, not like dive, but like I've gone up really high when I was younger, before I met you, when I stopped traveling the world before that.
No, but no, hold on.
What?
Back up. So you just stated with like supreme confidence and like almost like I'm not dumb enough to jump bungee jump.
Yes.
But you did cliff dive.
Actually, I didn't say I cliff dived. I said when I went to cliff dive. I was about to finish that sentence. When I went to cliff dive in Greece when I was younger, and we were a bunch of us MKs, we went. And so Greece doesn't have a ton of, depending on where you are in Greece, it doesn't have a ton of beaches like with sand.
Right.
There's just like rocks.
Right.
And it's steep rocks. And so we all went up to this ledge and we were going to jump off the ledge or dive off the ledge. And I went up there with my friends because it didn't look so high when I was down at the bottom.
Yeah.
But once I got up there, I was just like, yeah, this is not a thing I'm going to do.
Okay, good.
So that's what I was going to say. Like, even when I've gone to do that, where like you could be I've been on really high diving boards before, and I have had, okay, so you remember Heritage USA?
Yeah.
Okay. So Heritage USA, we go because my mom, without telling my dad, gave $1,000
to the PTL club.
The PTL club.
So they could get a lifetime membership.
Lifetime membership to Heritage USA. And my mom was, I think this was an act of faith for her, and she wanted to support that ministry, and so fabulous.
It was a good deal for vacations.
Sure. That one vacation. Because, we went on lots of vacations, but we only went there one time. Anyways, when my dad found out, it was like everything that kept happening, he would go, what do you want for $1,000?
This is back in the 80s, right?
Yeah. I think $1,000 is still a lot of money to me right now. If you were just like, so by the way, Rivka, I just kind of sent off to this group $1,000, I'd be like, what?
Yeah.
So, anyway, so we went to Heritage USA, and with this package deal, you were going to get to stay in like the really, really nice hotel. Only they were booked. And that was one of the issues that Heritage and PTL ended up having.
They oversold it.
And we were one of those people. So we had to stay in this real dumpy hotel. And I think my brothers and I all had to sleep on the floor. And it was just like, and my dad, just like the thing of the weekend, because we went for a few days over the weekend. The whole thing was just like my dad would just keep saying over and over again, "What do you want for $1,000?" I mean, hey, what do you want for $1,000? I mean, I remember we needed more towels, and we could not get more towels for anything. And my dad was like, "Well, what do you want for $1,000?" He just kept saying it over and over again. Okay, so we did go to the theme park though. And when we were there, they had one of these like pre-made kind of cliff things. Now, it wasn't that high. I don't even think it was maybe it was like a story, like let's say from like 10 feet. Okay, so like from the floor to the ceiling. But because where the floor is, like right now we're looking at the floor, where the floor is, because it was see-through because it's water, right? It looked way deeper than it was. But I didn't think about that. And underneath where the water is, like there's people that can be down there and they can see people diving in. Mm-hmm. So it was really clear. So we waited in line, and my dad and my brother were behind us, and I was in front with my other brother. So we finally get there. We'd waited a long time, and my brothers, I think, jump off, and then it was my turn, and I kept going to go, and I couldn't do it. And my dad would be like, at first he was like really nice, you know, he was like, all right, Rivka, okay, Rivka. And I'd go to do it and I'd stop and he'd be like, okay, Rivka, there's a line of people back here. And it was a line of people. And he'd go, okay, Rivka. And I couldn't like turn around. Like I had to jump. Mm-hmm. And I could not get myself to jump off this cliff. So my dad started getting really irritated and he was finally like, okay, Rivka, I'm going to count. I'm going to count to 10 and you're going to jump. And I'd go, okay. So he'd start counting and he'd get down to jump and I couldn't do it. So then he got to 3. He's like, okay, we're jumping at 3. You understand? He's like, Rivka, listen to me. There are all these people and they are all waiting to jump. You have to jump. And I was like, I know. I want to jump. I cannot get myself to jump. And he's like, he goes, I'm counting to 3. He's like, 1, 2, 3. And I could not do it. My father was like, okay, we're done. He like grabs me and he goes to throw me off. And I am hanging on for dear life to the bars like on the side. Yeah. And he's like trying to pry my fingers off. Like today, someone would be videoing this. It had gone viral for being funny because it was a funny thing. He wasn't being mean. He was like trying to save everyone else from me not being able to jump. So he's prying my fingers off and I'm like, no. And he finally gets my hands off and he just threw me into the water.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. That's actually my one memory from Heritage USA.
Other than no towels and
yeah, well, I mean, like that was all in the room, but like for the theme park, like that's what I remember.
The thought when you're telling that story, I remember when we had taken a bunch of students on a youth trip, and our boys were little, and they were with us, and we went to a water park in Lake of the Ozarks, and I took Giovanni on the slide with me.
Oh yeah.
And I held him on my lap. And
he was so little.
It felt like he was bigger.
Yeah, I know. I think you thought he was in college, but he was actually
went down the
just
slide
so little.
and went underwater.
So you guys went underwater. You walked. You you get up on your feet and you go, and we're waiting for him to come up, and he's not coming up.
That's not.
No, the lifeguard had to let's get him, and went down and brought him up, and that's why I was so mad at you for taking him down the slide.
It was very fast, I thought.
The slide was very
fast.
fast.
I mean the aftermath.
No, you were even upset with the guy. You were like, "Where's my kid? Like, if we can't find the kid, you gotta go under and get the baby." It's okay. You put those things out of your mind. It's okay. No, that's what I remember.
That is not okay. That is not what happened.
Okay, maybe it's the second time then. Did we do this the second time? Did he go on a slide by himself?
No, we went down and he went completely under the water. And when we came up, he was like choking on the water and you were upset. There wasn't like like empty-handed like, "Hey, where's my kid?" Like
so then he went down a different time by himself and he did go under the water because I remember the lifeguard having to get him and you were frustrated with the lifeguard. So it must have been like a not a different event, but a different slide thing.
I don't remember that at all.
Well, I have memories of that, but who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows? Maybe I dreamt it.
It's
Maybe it
possible.
was all in my
It's
head.
possible.
Is it possible?
Yeah. And the other thing I wouldn't do is I wouldn't drive. You know, when we went to, when we followed the.
Yes. You would never follow.
When we followed the GPS
Yes.
on our way to Yosemite.
Yes, you would never do that
And
again.
it told me to take Ward's Ferry Road.
Yeah.
And it ended up being a one-lane road for 9 miles with sheer cliffs and blind curves.
Yeah.
And it took us an hour of complete and total anxiety.
So the question was, what would you never do again? So
I would never do that.
So you would never do that again. I think that's a really good example of what you would never do again. That's a really good one. I think for me, if there was something I had to say that I would never do again, for me, I think I made a lot of really poor dating choices. And I think there are certain guys that I would be like, I would never go out with that guy again. Like, if I had to go back in time and they were like, you can go back out with them and maybe it'll go, I'd be like, nope. Yeah. Absolutely not. I will never, ever go out. I would never go out with that person again.
Sure, yeah.
I think you can learn a lot from different relationships, so I think dating is not terrible, but I think there are some people that just should not be dated again.
Yeah. Agreed.
So that's what it would be like for me.
Okay.
Is Antonio awake? You awake? Yeah, oh, I can hear him breathing. And so I was like when he was a baby and I could hear him breathing, he was sleeping.
Yeah.
So.
All right, well, I think that's probably plenty of... Now, this was as opposed to the last couple of weeks, this was completely non-substantive.
Non-substantive completely.
Like, if you
But you know what? Sometimes we need that.
Yeah, if you feel like you escaped into a roller coaster that had moments where you're like, are they fighting? This is getting uncomfortable. But it's all fine. No, it was fine.
We
don't
don't
assume.
Do not assume
anything. And put your candles on plates.
Or tell somebody that you lit a candle.
Or tell somebody.
When you get home, blow out the candle.
You just assumed when you got home.
There's like so
you assumed
many
when you got
different
home.
trajectories.
See, I assumed when I got home that someone would have walked around the house and turned off everything and been like, oh, there's a candle, and blew it out. Bad assumption.
Right.
Bad
There you go. That's an assumption based on
no experience.
Okay.
Fair. I did assume that.
And that is a time where I would go, I don't understand the logic, when previously, here's an assumption on my part. I would assume that when I have told you to put candles on plates so many times, you would. So me, I'm going like, why? Why would you do this? Why? Like, just think, like, this is wax and this is wood. So if it burns all the way down and you haven't told anybody, the likelihood is this is just a really big wick. And it is just making its way down to the table.
Well, by God's grace,
we survived.
We sit here today.
Amen.
May the Lord bless you. May the Lord make his face to shine upon you and be gracious unto you. May the Lord lift up his countenance upon you and give you peace. Shalom, shalom. Have a beautiful day.